Nancy Gutierrez, and I'm the host of our show, You Are Not Mentally Ill. Sitting here next to me is the creator and the founder of the Lewis Approach, Chuck Lewis. The title of our show stems from the book that Dr. Thomas Szasz wrote that asserted that mental illness does not exist. To quote Dr. Thomas Szasz, mental illness is a myth. There is no such disease in mental illness. Over the years in practice, we have found this to be true. That's why we say, you are not mentally ill. The topic of our show today is how to build self-esteem and confidence after you have been torn down. Before I interview Chuck about this topic, let me give you some very important facts that you may not know about a lack of confidence and self-esteem. There are several things that you suffer from if you have a lack of confidence or self-esteem. People may make negative comments or assumptions about you. You are most likely to develop unproductive work, behaviors such as defensiveness, being overly compliant or overly rebellious. It can cost you money. One study was done that amongst blue-collar workers, those with confidence made roughly $7,000 more a year than those who lacked confidence. And for white-collar workers, the gap was even greater. Those with self-confidence made approximately $28,000 more per year than those who lacked confidence. It can also kill our entrepreneurial activities because we don't believe in ourselves and our thoughts. Now just think of how the world would be if Benjamin Franklin or Henry Ford had lacked confidence. There'd be no electricity and there'd be no Ford Motor Company. Furthermore, people may not be aware that they suffer from low confidence or lack of self-esteem. There are several ways that you can tell if you are lacking. You have a difficulty speaking up and prioritizing your own wants and feelings. You have a difficulty making your own choices. You say sorry a lot and you feel guilty for everyday actions. You don't feel deserving or capable of having more of good things. And you don't like to rock the boat. Let me ask Chuck some things about low confidence and self-esteem. Chuck, do you believe some people are just born with high or low confidence or self-esteem, or is it more of an environmentally experience-based?
Well, actually, to begin with, children are not born with either high or low self-confidence. It's a learned experience. So when they're born, they have a clean slate. Now, their self-esteem is determined by how people view them. If they view them as good and happy or whatever, then they'll have a good sense of self-esteem. And generally that's what happens when the little child's born. Yeah, they're cute. So they do things like that, so the kid develops this good self-esteem. However, if the child goes through some times when they cry, they cry because they have a problem, but the parents want them to shut down.
Right, right.
So it starts beginning to shut off their self-esteem and their confidence in dealing with things. However, if the parent would pick the child up and hold them, then that would do well. If the child is making a problem with a spoon or a hammer or something like that, they'd say, give me that hammer. You're going to tear this up. They talk to them like they're adults. But I was really impressed with my wife. I hate to do this, but my wife, what she did is she'd take the hammer and give them something else we want them to have. So that way, it will help build the self-esteem. So the other part of it is, when they're young, anytime they have a problem, their parents can solve the problem. But when they get to their teenage years, they need to be able to solve problems themselves. And they go through what you call the rites of passage. I mean, they go from being a child to being an adult. Unfortunately, they believe, and everybody, all teenagers do this, they believe the other kids know more than they do when they don't, which affect their self-esteem. And parents can build self-esteem by educating them and teaching them. The more they learn, the better it's going to be. And then finally, at work, the boss puts you down, tells you, well, you didn't get your quota today. You're a sloppy thing. Now Joe's doing a better job and all that. They compare you to somebody. Well, there's ways that the Lewis approach tells you to deal with that, so you build your self-esteem to keep it up. So those are some of the things about self-esteem.
Wow, that is some great information, and I hope the parents out there were listening to that, because I know that a lot of us have made some of those mistakes ourselves, and it's really important for our children to have good confidence and high self-esteem. That's one of the most important gifts that you can give your kids. To go further, let me ask you, what causes people to lose confidence or self-esteem? We did talk about the children when they're little, but as they get older, can you go into that more for me?
You know, one of the biggest parts of low self-esteem is adrenaline, anxiety. When you have anxiety, when you have adrenaline, you can't be confident because the adrenaline puts pressure on you.
Okay.
So it affects your concentration, it affects your thinking and all that. So in addition to that, we tend to take on another person's problem, and we can never be successful at solving the other person's problem. It'd be better for them to work at solving their own problems that we deal with the Lewis approach. And so that's what creates the problems there, is that they have this anxiety that affects their self-esteem. And then, so that's how that works.
Yes. I remember in the past shows where we've talked about the hormones and the adrenaline and how it impacts a person's body and how harmful it is for our adrenaline to just keep running inside of our bodies. You know, that's one of the benefits of the Lewis approach, verbal system out there. It deals with science. It's fact-based, and it will help you to get the results that you need. Chuck, I've done some research on this topic for preparation for this show today. Let me share with our viewers some of the things that I learned by doing the research. From a practical side, people can be confident in their appearance, they can learn how to recognize their strengths, they can surround themselves with supportive people, and they can give themselves a chance to be successful. From the therapeutic side, they can use cognitive behavioral therapy, acceptance and commitment therapy, exposure therapy, and mindfulness-based therapies. Now, Chuck, tell our viewers, why would people want to do the Lewis Approach verbal system with all these other systems out there that are available to them? What makes the Lewis Approach so special?
Well, you know, actually, when you think about all that, you gotta change the way you think, change the way you do something. And people, when they make this New Year's resolution, they don't change. They may keep that resolution for maybe a month, maybe 2 months, but then they can't. So they're asking you to make a change that probably won't stick around for them. Then when you go to people with this cognitive behavior therapy, there's not all therapists know how to do cognitive behavior therapy. And then hanging around with people that are positive, if they say things that makes you feel inadequate, it's not going to build you up any. And so then that becomes a problem. So what has to happen is that, in addition, there's plenty of people out there doing these cognitive therapy and relaxation techniques and all this stuff. And you find that there's still people with this problem. They still got it. They don't get rid of it. So why is that? First place, there's not going to be enough therapists to go around. There's just not.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I don't think there's enough people that have gone through school to be therapists. I think our viewers can begin to see the tremendous advantages of the Lewis Approach verbal system. Tell our viewers, Chuck, what if someone has low self-esteem or lack of confidence because of some physical appearance they have, or if they are like fat, or if they're too skinny, or if they're bald, or they have a big nose? What can they do to help them to feel better in the Lewis Approach? What would you recommend that they do?
Well, now, the Lewis Approach is different because the first thing it does is it tells you to accept yourself the way you are. And accept everybody the way they are. We say, see yourself as perfect being you. Don't change anything. Because how are you going to change big nose? How are you going to change being too short? How are you going to change those things? Those things can't happen. But if you see yourself as perfect, you're not going to put yourself down. Because
Right.
if you don't, you're going to be putting yourself down. When other people may like you the way you are. And I had a lady, she was an attractive lady. She had, she was nice size and everything. And so she didn't want people to confront her, so she put on a lot of weight, thinking, well, this is going to work. But then she found a lot of people who like fat women. So she didn't get away with anything.
Yeah.
So the other part of it is, when we take a picture of ourselves, and you look at it, you look for everything wrong with that picture. That you were standing the wrong way, or your tie was not fixed the right way, this or that. But what we want you to do, and what we tell you to do, is look for the things you like in you. And then that will work. Now there was this lady. She was not an attractive lady. She just wasn't. She looked okay, but she wasn't attractive. But she thought she was God's gift to the world. And everybody thought she was attractive. Even me.
Wow.
But she was still the same way because of the way she felt about herself. She wanted to use the words that build your confidence to use up the adrenaline that's causing you the struggle. That's how it works with the Lewis approach.
That is so impactful, Chuck. I am certain that if someone suffers from low self-esteem or lack of confidence, that they will be able to use this Lewis approach verbal system and get their needs met, and they will be able to boost up that level back up to where it should be so they can have a successful life. Like I said before, I am in the Lewis approach advanced class level. How can someone learn how to do the Lewis approach?
Well, simple. All they need to do is call my partner, my associate, Charles Lewis. He's the executive director and the lead trainer at 818-599-0016. Or they can email him at charles@lewisapproach.com. And if you want to get more information, you go to www.lewisapproach.com and get that information.
That's great, Chuck. Viewers, look at this beautiful book. This is the book that actually brought me to the Lewis approach. Getting what you want and being liked for it. How to resolve conflicts and problems in any situation with anyone about anything. I started this book, I read this book 2 years ago, and then I signed up for the class. It is worth its weight in gold. I absolutely love the Lewis approach. That's why I'm here, and that's why I'm sharing the YouTube so that our viewers can get this information and learn about this new approach to dealing with mental health. So, what is our next show going to be, Chuck?
Well, I'm really happy about this next show. The next show is going to be a little bit different than before. It's going to be taking the information we got on that last training class and then sharing that with people so that they can learn to do that. Then also what we're going to do is we're going to have people ask questions so that the people that's hearing the answers can benefit from that. And it's certainly going to be good enough for you to not miss this show the next time it's on.
Wow, that is such a great variety to the show. I'm so excited that we're going to do this for all these viewers. So I'm looking forward to that, and I recommend that you send in your email questions. So if you have a question for Chuck, please email it to www.lewisapproach.com. And till next time, this is Nancy Gutierrez here with the Lewis Approach Verbal System and co-author of, what happened right there? You Are Not Mentally Ill.